Okay, you're up.
All right, Bannock County Commissioners are back in session. We have the Fair Board here. Go ahead and introduce yourselves and go over the highlights of your budgets.
Okay, Dylan Moser Evans, Fair Board.
Jamie Pearson, Fair Board Coordinator.
Alex Hauser, Grounds Coordinator.
Cody Miller, Fair Board.
All right.
I'll start with fair maintenance. Yes. So we have not made any, well, there's one change to this is all we made, and it's down on the professional services temp workers. We reduced it by $8,000. When we were going through the end of fair last year, when I was working with Chrissy on it, we had been paying for the tent rental out of this budget for professional services because they bring and put it up, do it all for us. And she said that needs to be a fair expense because it's associated with the fair. So we took the professional services out of here and added it to Piney's. And usually our tents are right around $8,000 to rent.
Okay.
You'll see on when we get to Piney's that we increased a little bit more than that, but I'll explain why. But that's the only change that we made on this one. We didn't ask for any capital. And if you read on our capital sheet, it says that we didn't know what ARPA was going to cover. So we didn't know what to ask for as far as what we might need for the new buildings, barns, that kind of stuff. And we talked to Ernie a little bit about that last night.
We've had that discussion a little bit here too. Like I say, we talked about the buildings, and we have 1.5 million basically that we put there. I was told today that the new building is talking about $2 million instead of $1 million, so I've got to have further conversations there. But we also had a conversation about panels and all those kind of
Electrical and
things,
stuff.
and taking that out of that funds,
ARPA money.
the ARPA monies.
And I think
This year.
we'll have extra in our budget this year because we anticipated needing some of that kind of stuff because of the growth of the animals. So I think that we'll have, if we start running low on ARPA, I think we'll have enough for some of the panels and things. And we have $25,000 in our electrical in our main budget for this year. So I don't want to cut us short on our budget if ARPA could cover it, but
Well, if we could cover panels and things like that out of your budget, from an ARPA reporting standpoint,
it's gonna
I
look
would
better.
prefer.
Yeah.
Only
And then that gives
because
us extra for the building if we need it.
It would. So
So I
maybe
think if
could
we
you
work-
put some costs together on what all of that looks like that you're gonna put in that building? And then if we think there's gonna be some money in your budget that you could cover, just let me know that.
Okay.
And then that way, when I report next to the board for ARPA, then I can just
So
bring
that we
that
can
up,
cover it.
that this is what we think we're gonna need for that initial building,
Okay.
which leaves this much for,
And
Anyone.
I'm pretty sure, I don't think we've used anything out of our electrical, and we have 25,000 in there this year. So we might even be able to cover the electrical for the barn
okay,
if we work together.
okay.
I don't want to go over our budget, but
Right.
if we can cover some of that stuff instead of doing ARPA, then that gives us more.
And that's a coordination between the offices here.
So let's just
Yeah,
make
we can make that work.
So that's the only change that we have on our maintenance is we just reduced that a little bit so that we could move some into Piney's.
So-
Back on capital, the one thing that,
Well, the 8,000 was to make the expenditures appropriate as to where they should be. Fair maintenance should only cover costs for the grounds. It should be nothing fair related.
for the fair. yeah.
It should be for the grounds only.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just fixing that.
Yeah, and that was, Chrissy helped me with that last year. Piney did go way over because
Yeah.
we didn't, yeah.
So do we want to go on fair exhibit now? Do you have any questions on fair maintenance?
Nope.
The only other thing that we need to comment on capital, if we end up covering everything on with the ARPA, we really, really need a water truck. We have two 4-H groups down there on Tuesdays, Thursdays now. Well, one hasn't come before you yet, but, and then we have another lady that wants to do either Mondays or Thursdays for barrel racing jackpots. And right now we're relying on Tony from the city. He brings water on Tuesdays and Fridays, so that's covered for the weekend. But we need to figure out if we're gonna start doing events every day, or, 4 times a week, we're gonna need, and
Yeah.
Alex can talk about that, but that's just, we didn't put it on there because Scott says that he thinks he has one.
He does. So we worked with Road and Bridge to get the truck, and then they're buying the bed because a new water truck was gonna be a couple $100,000,
Mm-hmm.
and that facility couldn't
That's what I
take
thought, that we had it in the
Yeah.
works
Yeah.
Yeah, it's working out.
Yeah.
Okay,
to do this.
so sooner than better, or later is better, because Alex is out there, might as well be out there with the hose, huh?
Spitting.
It's getting there. Yeah. So that we're, yeah, we can help it out tremendously.
Yeah, I thought that was already in the works, so.
Yeah, for Scott it is, and I'm assuming it'll be shared.
Mhm.
So visit with Scott a little better
Okay,
and see where,
see how close we
See
are.
how-
Where it's
what
at.
Okay, perfect.
circumstances. Road and Bridge will be involved there too.
Per exhibit,
So the only changes on the request that we asked this time is we asked again to increase Piney's entertainment, just because entertainment is so expensive and it's going up. We have changed.
oh wait,
to the-
wait, do your office first, please.
You want to do officers?
We're going numerical.
We have no changes on office.
Okay. I made that easy.
There's nothing changing on there at all.
What page are we on now?
Now we'll be on 50, right?
Okay, so on Piney's, we just asked for a $15,000 increase on the entertainment side. We have changed it up. We learned a lot last year with Neil McCoy. I mean, he was a $40,000 buy, and we didn't make near that back on ticket sales. And then that doesn't include like his hotel and, all the extra stuff that you have with him. So this year, we're changing the fare up, and everything that we'll have something in the arena every night that we'll be charged for. So we won't have to put that fence up, we won't have to do any of that kind of stuff, so everything will be in the arena for ticket sales. So, but still, acts are going up. And then per Scott's advice, the fair awards South and the prizes and candy, he had us combine those two. They were 15 and 2, and so he had us change it to 17. So it's just one line. And then we put contract services, we added $20,000, and I'll explain that. So that the $8,000 is about what the tents will be. But for some reason, what's the guy's name? The stage guy?
The what guy?
Stage.
Oh, Brad Higby.
So
All-star.
he was charging us he's the one that sets up the stage in the corner of the baseball diamond. And he sets it up on Wednesday so that we can have musical acts and comedy and things like that later in the week. And he was charging us like right around the $5,000-6,000 range. And then year before last, he charged us $10,000. And then last year, he came and did everything, didn't charge us a thing. So we put that there in case we don't really know what he's going to charge us, I guess is what I'm saying. And Piney calls and calls and calls, and you've called, and nobody can ever get a hold of him. He just shows up, does it, and then that's it. He's got us on the calendar, but we can never get a hold of him. So, and I know that he was doing a bunch of stuff for the event center. Was it last summer?
Is that, what's his business name?
Volstar.
Okay.
Volstar,
that's
yeah.
right.
So he's kind of a wild card.
Well, and I do have his cell phone number
Right.
now.
But if you can get him to answer a call back. But like I said, he always shows up and does it. We just don't.
Well, that's who does the stages for.
Yeah.
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 All the.
And last year, we didn't even get an
stage.
invoice from him at all for it.
That's, happens. And then you added 5,000 to the rodeo too?
Yes. And that's because it's costing us about 18.5 to actually have the rodeo. But then we have to pay for Casperson, which is the mini bulls on top of that. And I think he's 25 or 3,500. And then we have, we do added money, which is 4,500, but we take that out of the premiums account because it's prizes. And we've got it now, so we don't have to buy the mutton busting trophies and all that cheap. We get donated. We have one of our sponsors that does the trophies now. It's a tire place out of Malad. So so we don't have to worry about paying for any of that, but it's just when they bring another specialty act with them, like the mini bowls, we have to pay a little bit more for them. They're a separate contract. And if we did have them do it all inclusive, it would go up to 25,000 anyway, so. This way the mini bowls have their own liability and their own, all that insurance and all that stuff, so it's not under the rodeo. Do you have any questions?
Yep.
Okay.
So, the entertainment's gonna be over in the arena, not on the ball field?
Well-
You can't have a baseball game or what? I'm just wondering.
Well, so, not during the week. So what we did is, rather than do a big concert like Neil McCoy or Bellamy Brothers, we have like Cal Moon coming Friday night. But he's like a $3,500. And there's a comedian out of Preston that's opening for him. And I think we only paid him $1,000, maybe $1,500. I have to look at the contracts. So we're doing lower cost.
Well,
like-
what I was getting at is, in the previous meetings this year, you've talked about someplace for them to be or change and stuff, and I don't see anything in like a capital for an area like that, somewhere over by the, wherever they're gonna be doing this stuff. You know what I'm saying?
So
If it was over at the grandstand, do we need to have a separate facility
so
over there?
without having a big act, we really don't have, we're not required to have a green room. We
Okay.
can have a green tent for somebody like Cal Moon, the comedian, that. What we need the green room for is our acts that come throughout the week. Like when we had the Lanky the Clown, he'll change out of his clown outfit and put on his juggler and go do that. So we need those rolling acts, is what they're called. That's what we need a green room. Right now, we're probably gonna be okay because we've been using that old concession stand. And nothing's torn down, so as long as we can use that old concession stand, that's where we've been putting them. It's not great for them. It's not air conditioned. It's not. There's not.
And that's why I was just bringing it up, because you've
Yeah.
had conversations about it, and I don't see anywhere in the budget where you're looking towards something of that nature.
Yeah. Well, Piney's gonna contact a place. TJ was talking to her about it last night, trying to get a toy hauler so that we can just borrow that in exchange for letting them put their banner up, and that will be our office for this year. If we can get that worked out, because we did talk about buying a bully barn, but then we have a bully barn.
Yeah.
And if
And
we're gonna
that's
have a
all
nice
I'm
building-
saying is you look at the future and where things need to be. How do we plan this out? Because, like I say, ARPA dollars are gone,
Right.
and so that's what we're utilizing a lot of this stuff for. And
Isn't
if
it,
we don't plan in the future,
isn't it Camping World that has been doing a bunch of sponsors and shows up
and
there?
Scott talked to them a little bit.
I wonder if they would bring one
What's
down.
the one out on Hawthorne?
Yeah. Camping
Is it
World.
Yeah, that's
Camping World?
Camping World.
Okay, because it's my job to get a hold of them and see if they'll do us a toy hauler so that we have that too, so.
Okay.
That's a great idea.
But
So
there's
hopefully
different-
we can get on board
Put a
with
big
somebody
Camping
that,
World sign
if
up
we
on
do
it.
need like a green room for
Seems like
somebody
they'd do
that's
that
in the
for
arena.
free.
Right now, we don't, because we don't have any big musical acts that are requiring that. But we do like to have a place for our Sterling acts. You know, they perform like at 1 and they perform at 5, but there's that 4 hours of, Lanky the Clown doesn't want to sit out and tie balloons all day. He wants a break.
Did you say you have events scheduled every night? Where you're
Yes, so,
charging?
yes, so Monday night we have horse pulls.
That's okay,
Oh.
we need to talk after this.
Okay, yeah, we have events every single night that we're charging for. Or Monday night, we won't charge for horse pulls, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So we're gonna try and recoup some money that way, because we seem to do really well containing it to the arena without having to put the fences up. Because it was a lot to put those fences up and try and keep people out before a performance started. Because they're so used to going in and putting their chairs, their blankets,
And people just really didn't like fences either.
the vendors didn't like the fences, people didn't like the fences, so.
Okay? Anything?
That's it.
Any other questions?
No, he wants to play softball.
Ernie wants to
I'm
challenge
not too old
us.
to play.
You are not.
Well, you too.
Cody wants to put together a softball challenge, the fair board versus maybe you guys or
Done.
the livestock. Done.
Do it.
That's cool.
I just think it would be fun for the
We'll be
whole
fine.
community.
Yeah.
I won't be there.
I just told them last night, nobody's on county insurance on this. Our rates are already too high. We're self-insured. Okay,
So, and then I have one other question. This is off budget, but do you remember the mess that we had with the ambulance district last year trying to get those paid? Should we try and do an ambulance waiver?
you'll have to talk to Chief O'Hearn and have him come to us.
Okay.
and-
Easiest way to do that?
That's the process.
And I'm gonna get a hold of Tony too to start with the police things. So, get all that scheduled. That's my list of to-dos from last night.
Anything else?
Easy.
It's awesome.
All right, thank you very